Okay, guys, let's get right to it. The plus size misadventures of love, episode 11. Next week is the last episode of the show, and we're gonna miss this fun, loving girl that is Yumeko, the gullible, bubbly, energetic girl who always brings smiles to everyone in the office, which is somewhat unique. But aside from that, last week was a pretty sad episode. Pretty sad episode, especially for the detective. Especially what he's going through with his wife and all that. It was all misunderstandings, that kind of thing. But Yumiko is very positive about what's going on in the world of many people, especially with Kisuke. Let me just say this right now: we don't know nothing about where this is going. Throughout these episodes, we've been getting a little bit of answers, and somewhat not really answers, but it's more like breaking down to what really going on in Yumiko's life before it was like attempted murder. So we don't know what's really going on in life. But now we're about to get some. Look, I really hope next week we get some answers and about the past. We need to get more answers between Rikako and Kisuke. We need more freaking answers. Tagawa had a backstory. Hiroki, the chief, got a backstory. We need somewhat of answers as to what's going on in this and what makes, how can you be pissed off at Yumeko? You see what I'm saying? There are many answers that we have to get in this, though. So let's see. But this episode was somewhat of one of those, I will say, the calm before the storm. It was one of those episodes where you're just okay, this is the part of the show where we're gonna get the answers next week. This was one of those moments where it's just okay, this is the episode that's gonna build up to the ending of where we get all the answers, and this is one of them. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Last episode, my bad. Episode 11 of the plus size misadventures of love, because this is going to be a pretty dynamic structure here. Okay, so we all know Yumeko is very talented when it comes to the design. Well, not her design, but the idea of having these ramen chips, these blue sparkly chips. So much so, the ad was so good. Everybody, even high school kids, wanted these chips. These blue sparkly chips. The advertisement was funny. It brought attention to the world. So much so that the sales was going off the wall, oh my God. Because of Yumeko's idea, the sales has been skyrocketed. So much so that the VP, yes, Kisuke, decided to congratulate the entire team with a friendly outdoor adult rom-com barbecue. Yes, that happens a lot in adult rom-coms. Let's call it like it is. Have you guys noticed that every adult rom-com is always an outdoor barbecue? It's always like that because it's always leads to those cliffhangers. And it always leads to those cliffhangers into oh, we're about to get the answer. Kind of like when I covered 365 Days to the Wedding with those fake marriage. And I remember they had a barbecue and it kind of opened up with a cliffhanger. So I'm looking at this and I'm this is going to be one of those cliffhanger moments. We're going to get a cliffhanger and it's going to be epic. That's what we're going to get. So anyway, everyone's, congratulate everyone with the barbecue and all that. It was really fun. It was really fun to watch. Especially Yumeko bringing out boss, you're coming. Tagawa's coming. It's crazy how she brought her energy brings old friends, old colleagues, and new colleagues together. That's how great she is. That's how great she is. The fact that she brought everybody, old colleagues together. The Kisuke, Hirogi, Tagawa, bringing out the old staff members back together just to talk. It was real fun. It was playing out. Now, Rikako, I knew something was up early on. I knew something was up early on when Kisuke talking about how the staff is doing well, this and that, and she rarely don't see him smile. But when Kisuke got a text from Yumeko and all that stuff, and she started smiling, Rikako had some inner thought. She's you're gonna leave me alone? This crazy lunatic woman was going to do something very dangerous. And I had a gut feeling something bad was going to happen. I had my heart drop watching that. I'm I was sensing something sense in it when she said that. So the day of the barbecue, everybody's getting together. Somewhat, Hiroki, the boss, wanted to speak to the Kisuke, and Yomako's like, "You better be nice to this motherfucker. You better be nice, being nice." At least he tried, but again, I like how she bringing old colleagues and new colleagues together. I mean, there was a scene where Kisuke and Dagawa had an idea with s'mores. Was the idea with s'mores, and Yumeko was the idea to bring them together with s'mores. So again, they have this idea thanks to you. They have this new product idea thanks to Yumeko. And then we got a montage of everyone having a great time with the barbecue, all that stuff. And then Yumeko was getting the achievement award like she won an Oscar. It's like she finally won an Oscar. Yes, she won an Oscar. And it's funny, her achievement has been in 1 year has been so flawless that she won an Oscar. So much so, I like her English in this one. The English, listen, I like characters talking in English because they is so funny with it. They not funny like ha ha ha, but more like, oh my God, it's so adorable. It's so freaking awesome. It's so awesome to hear people talking in English. And I gotta be honest with you, if there's any characters who works with the best English dialogue, for me, it's Penny from Penny and Stockings. I'm still piggybacking that episode in Penny and Stockings where she was cursing in the sub. Like you could put it in the sub, like dub or sub, it doesn't matter. Panty was singing in English, but when Yomiko she was like, "Oh my gosh, y'all, that English." I played that clip 3 times because it was funny how she got accepted the achievement award, like she won an Oscar. She's like, "Oh my gosh, yo, that English." That English got me. Oh my God. Now, she was getting a standing ovation for her friends, her colleagues, and whatnot. Everyone just ignored her. But that's Yumiko style. But again, a great montage going on. And then we got a little thing going on. This is where this is where we kick some ass here. You see, Yumiko and Kisuke are having that alone in the woods. Kisuke was like, "Thank you, thank you for bringing life, this and that, find some love, she was in other words, you're the reason why you made me happy." That kind of vibe thing. So I do applaud that. But here comes behind the tree, Rikako. Yo! And the thing is, I knew it was, and I had a back in my mind. I had a knot in the back of my mind thinking that Rikako is gonna do something to Yumeko, but not like this, like really right behind her, and she scratching her claw through the wood, like, "You're gonna pay for everything you did." I'm curious about what she did. I'm still trying to figure out what did Yumeko do to piss you off. What did Yumeko did to piss you off to a point that you want to murder this gullible, likable woman? Like, what did you do to piss her off? I'm just curious. And then that confrontation happened. Rikako and Yumeko for the first time. This after. This is what I'm talking about right now. This is the first time this is happening. Very first time. And then Rikako trying to play it off. She like, "Oh yeah, my husband who's now this and that. My boyfriend who's now my husband is the boss. He's doing really well." And then she goes out and blame and then asking Yumeko, "How you doing?" But Yumeko's like, "Wait a minute, how you know my name?" That's right there was the shot of the dart. Like, how she know my name? I thought she was gonna stab her. Like what the fuck? But then leave it to Kisuke to jump right in and stop Rikako from even talking to her or even touching her. And just like, "Okay, I'll take her home. You go." But what's interesting about it was that the boss Hiroki was staring at this. Even Minami and his assistant detective was actually watching the scenes too. So it's like everybody was concerned about Rikako. Everyone was concerned about Kisuke and Yumeko. That the boss and the detectives were actually watching them piece by piece. It was like they were watching to see what was going to be unfold to the point like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And the thing is, Yumeko was like, "I can't tell the boss because I don't want to find out." But the boss already knew what happened. So as they were playing badminton, little game of badminton, it hit Yameko's head But when she saw the blood, now the blood spurting was funny, but when she saw the blood, that was the moment she got like that little a flashback once again with a knife, saying, "How you just almost stabbing her to a point where she felt unconscious by it." It's like, damn, we're getting more interesting with the story. And and I don't want to say this. I really, really don't want to be part of this, but something tells me Kisuke got something to do with the murder, with Rikako murder. Like, I understand Kisuke looked like a nice guy, but you already say there's a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's what I see in Kisuke. Like, part of me is like, trust him or I don't trust him. I trust or don't trust him. Because the way how this is going now, and the way Kisuke is protecting Rikako, it's safe to say that, it's hard to say that Kisuke knew, or he actually knows what's going on in Yumeko. Like, he knows. Oh, he knows. He knows. But at the end of it, where Yumeko and Dagawa was talking, they were talking, and she explains how something's going on. It's still like, and the boss now is going to be stepping into the plate, and it's like, oh my gosh, so much drama. It's like, if you go back to recent episodes, you notice that Kisuke, Hiroki, Hiroki, Rikako, and Dagawa, all four former workers, former friends, former partners, workers, and Yumeko is going to do some way to bring these four back together. Because remember, there were times when they were partners, but not anymore. They all went in their separate ways. So now Yumeko is going to find next week some piece of evidence to get these four together once again. It's like bringing the old colleagues back together, and Yumeko's going to find a way to do it. Now, this episode was one of those. Now, this episode is really good because it brought it like more vibes going on here. There's going to be some dangerous things going to happen. And hopefully next week we get some answers. Hopefully we get some next week about Rikako's past, because we need to know more. We need to know more about her past, and I hope that we get the full story of what really happened to Yumeko. And I hope, please, Jesus. I know this is next week's episode, but can we get some freaking answers as to why Yumeko got amnesia or what led to this? We gotta get some answers, bro. We need some answers. So thank you for watching my review of this show. I look forward to next week's episode of it, and I'm sure you will.